or I got a couple of minutes of things to say real quick, but it's hard to not talk about him and do that in a couple of minutes. But yeah, my name is Jim Hanlon, and I want to say what an honor it is to be here. I've had the privilege of serving, as he said, my country in Vietnam and afterwards. And I told my dad, who's Army, and my son-in-law, who's Army Ranger, and any of my Army buddies, he says, I went in the Navy because I'd rather ride than walk. But I started to second guess that after 2 hurricanes that I was on these ships. And one of those ships, we lost the steering gear. And if anybody knows anything about the Navy, if you lose the steering gear in a hurricane, you can't keep that ship into the waves, you're sunk. And so we had to tie a guy up against a mechanical wheel to keep it, getting orders from the bridge. Well, I turned out at that time, I don't look at it now, I was thin this guy in the engine room, and they helped me by my feet down through all these pipes to replace the hydraulic valve. And one guy yelled out, "Hey Hanlon, stay calm. You know there's only 3 miles, you're only 3 miles away from solid ground, anywhere out here." Straight down. So, we got it fixed and we got it home. So, but anyways, I come from a very long line of military, and I'm very proud to be that. And my recently found that my great-great-grandfather came over on a ship when he was 8 years old in 1850. Several years later, he was conscripted into the Union Army until he got fined and thrown out for drinking. Go figure, an Irishman drinking. My great-grandfather served with Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders. My grandfather was World War I subs. Anybody who was a submariner? That's nuts. After sailing, I had to work ashore, and I worked as a repair superintendent at Rosie Roads in Puerto Rico. And I had to work on both a nuclear sub and a World War II sub. You couldn't pay me enough money to spend more than 20 minutes on one of those little tubes. So, anyway, if anybody's a submariner, you give them a bigger pat on the back than anybody else in my book. My dad, who you'll hear from shortly, was a World War II hero that served under Patton. And he earned the Bronze Star with Valor, as you can see on the thing. But he never talked about it. I never knew about it until my daughter's wedding. My son-in-law just had gotten back as an Army Ranger from Kandahar, and he had earned a Bronze Star, and he and my dad got talking, and he asked him, if I got your medals, would you wear them to wedding? I said, sure. So my son-in-law was in Kandahar, Afghanistan, fought virtually every day. I mean, not the first 6 months. When he got there as platoon leader, the XO didn't show up, so they made an XO. And he said, I had worse duty. I had to go out and eat with all the politicians. You don't want to hear those stories. But after 6 months of 50% casualty rates there in his command there, they ran out of platoon leaders. The person that took his place was killed. The second guy lost both legs. So the captain said, hey Ben, you got to take over. And he said, well, I'll only take over, sir, if you'll let me move my men every 30 minutes. He said, that's not my orders. He laid out a map every day, said, you go there, this platoon there, this one there, and you wait for the Taliban to find you. And by the way, you can't shoot at them until they shot at you twice. Go figure why there's 50% casualties. Okay. So the captains first said no, but Ben said, then court-martial me or whatever, but he says, I won't put my men in harm's way, but at least let me try. You let me try it for 3 weeks, and if I'm wrong, I'll do it your way. So he let him do it. So after 3 weeks, he had 0 casualties and the highest success rate. So the captain went out with him and said, hey, I want to see what's going on. Stuck his head up, took a bullet in the helmet. Fortunately, it was Kevlar, nothing happened. But anyways, after 6 months, he came home 1 month before the wedding. And I asked him, how many of your men did you bring home safely? Every single one. So Ben asked all of us at the wedding, before the wedding, would you wear some kind of memento or something of your military service? So my dad shows up with all these medals, including the Bronze Star with Valor that I had never even heard about. I said, Dad, what's that all about? Oh, I'll tell you sometime. And he never did. But I was able to get the records from the 90th Division. Anybody heard of the 90th Division? They were they were reactivated just before D-Day. And 40,000 of them landed at D-Day. 19,200 in the 300 days that they served and fought were casualties. That's some excessive casualty rate in my book. But they were called the tough hombres. If you ever seen the symbol for the tough hombres? I mean, I don't think that, I was very fortunate. I got to take my dad down to their 100th anniversary. They were distinguished as the #1 division in World War I, and Patton said he was their favorite division in World War II. That's what TO is, tough hombres. And you look like he doesn't have women, but anyways, he was a tough hombre. And so when I found the records for his citation for a Bronze Star with Valor, it said that they had been ambushed, and 100 yards out there was a man that had been down. One of his platoon members was down, and nobody seemed to want to go get him. My dad weighed 145 pounds. I think he was one of the smallest guys in the platoon. Said, hey, you cover me. I was a football player. I was a fullback. I'll zigzag out. And he zigzagged out. Somehow got a guy way bigger than him back home and back to safety and saved his life. This month is the 50th anniversary of my Uncle Ed giving his life in Vietnam. Colonel Ed Vogel was the youngest colonel at the time in Vietnam. And so you can see how I've been blessed in my life to have heroes. And I had to put a plug in for my group here. But the other day my dad asked me, he said, do you know what the #1 service group that lost the most fatal casualties were in World War II? Anybody have a clue? It wasn't the Marine Corps. They were #2. #3 was the Army.
The Navy.
Nope. #1 was the Merchant Marines.
Air Force.
No, #1 was the Merchant Marines. People don't think about them as being servers. They lost 800 ships. When you think of the number of men that went down, I mean, they don't have the same number of people as on a Navy ship. So, and they were the number one number of ships that served at D-Day. So without the Merchant Marine, we wouldn't have survived. And I also want to salute everybody. A lot of people said, hey, I didn't do much. I was a supply clerk. I didn't do much. I was a cook. If you kept them alive as a cook, you were my hero. Anyway, see, in my opinion, everybody that serves is just as big a hero. And if it wasn't for everybody that served, then we'd be speaking Japanese or German. That the 90th Division landed 40,000, only about 10,000 were infantry. And they had, I think, 80% casualty rates. So the rest, about 19,000, came from the support people too. So whenever you see somebody, give them a shout out, no matter what they did. But the other unsung heroes are the civilian people that help our military. My biggest hero was somebody that my dad got to see in World War II, and I got to help, I got to support him and be and see him in Vietnam, and that was Bob Hope. But one of my greatest, in the last couple months, my dad has spent several times here, quite a few times, four different surgeries. He's got 2 more. He had one last night. Got out of here at 7:30 and is going back in tomorrow morning. He's a tough hombre. But you guys are the unsung heroes that help our vets. And I can't tell you what you've done for my dad and me. My dad, after 92 years of life, said, son, this is the best hospital I've ever been out of about 50 hospitals that I've seen. He's still serving, by the way, in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. 20 years he served in the auxiliaries down in Florida. And there's not very many that did World War II and also still serve in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. But he's not just a hero because of war. He continued on. This greatest generation does all kinds of stuff, like Mr. Cohen and his family, what they've done here at this hospital. One of my favorite stories is my dad. We had a guy come to the house who ran an orphanage, who took care of, sorry, I'll get teared up here. He took care of girls that were, underage girls that were sold into prostitution in Thailand. And he would teach them and get them in schooling and help them get a life. This guy shows up in New York and he take his shoes off when you come in. Dad looks down and sees holes through his soles that are about this big. He said, hey, what size shoe do you got? He told him. He said, here, take mine. And every year he sends him a pair of shoes, and every year he helps these girls, pays for their college even. Those are the kind of unseen heroes our World War II guys. So in closing, you can see why I proudly want to introduce my dad, my hero, Sergeant Tough Hombre, John Hanlon.